And we'll start off with Chris Ballas from the Wolverine.
Hey, Saddi, what have you seen as a difference in the offense in the last two games compared to what had been going on in the few games before that?
I think our ability to, just have some confidence in our shot making. I feel like our defense has generated a lot of that, those opportunities for us. And, we've been a team that, when we can, really lock down and be in place and in position defensively, it really kind of sparks our offensive drive. And so I think we've done a pretty good job with that in these last couple of games, and obviously taking care of the basketball and giving ourselves opportunity to have scoring opportunities.
Next up is James Hawkins from the Detroit News.
Hey, Saddi, appreciate your time. Sticking with the offense, I guess the three-pointers in particular have been falling in the last two games. Do you feel like that's more so just water finding its level and shots are finally starting to drop, or do you feel like there's been a noticeable difference in maybe like the quality of shots or any subtle tweaks in the offense that you can pinpoint that success to?
Our guys work extremely hard individually and collectively and putting in extra time and working on their craft and putting themselves in, game-like positions of the shots that we're going to see during the course of the game. And again, I think, guys have just been really locked in these last couple of games. Confidence is through the roof, especially once you see the ball go through the net, a couple of times, whether it's a three, whether it's a layup, whether it's one of your teammates. It's just that coach always says ball finds energy. And I think we've been able to do a good job of creating our own energy that everyone is able to feed off of.
And I guess individually, have there been any maybe slight corrections any guys have made with maybe their release or footwork or anything that's paid off with the three-point shooting, or is it just a confidence thing, I guess?
No, not necessarily. I think it's just time, just getting in the gym like any other athlete. If you've been going through any perceived struggles, you're just going to spend a little bit more time in the gym. And like I said before, to a man, our guys collectively do a great job of getting in the gym in their off time, getting in shots. And, I think it's just, we've been fortunate to be in a good headspace. And once, like I said, once you see the ball go through the net a time or two, then it really opens the rim up for you from a psychological standpoint.
We'll move over to Andrew Kahn from MLive.
Hey, Saddi, thanks for doing this. First of all, what is the health status of the team? Do you expect to have Musa tomorrow? I know a lot of things are going around.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's a day-to-day, weekly thing, right? And we try to do our best to manage and take care of our guys from a health perspective. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. It is cold and flu season, and so those things aren't lost on us. So we just ask our guys to make good decisions when they're away from the court. And, we're going to, like we do all the time, we're going to roll with who's available. And, we'll do that on Saturday.
And then as far as the last couple of games, 3-point shot going in, Hunter kind of getting back on track. I think it's easy from the outside to be like, oh, they fixed things and they're good now. I guess from the coaching staff, how do you guys look at it? Is it constantly evolving and tweaks, or do you feel like you solve some things and good to go?
It's the ebb and the flow of the season. Because if I sit here and say, oh, we solved it, and then, we come out and not have a great shooting night, sometime down the line, then everybody's panicking again. But, like I said, our guys have consistently work on their game. And, as I think somebody said, at some point, the boat rises to your level, and you just, you're able to see the ball go through the net. So whether it's spending extra time getting in shots, watching film, we're all about that growth mindset. And, whatever we need to do as a staff to put our guys in position to be successful, from one game to the next. That's what we're committed to doing.
Thanks.
We'll head back to Chris Ballas.
Saddi, what have you seen from Minnesota? A completely different team this year. And what have you seen from them on film?
Yeah, Ben has done a tremendous job with this group. I know him personally. I know their staff, a lot of members on their staff personally. To have, I think it's 10 new players on their roster, and for them to come out and play the way that they have is a testament to what Ben has done with the staff, and probably more importantly, how the players have bought into what they're coaching. So they're a good group, man. They're very efficient in what they do. They do a good job of sharing the game, playing really good defense. And so, we got our work cut out for us in preparation. And let's be honest, like, it's a league game, and can't, even in December, these games are so important to the for your standing and positioning for league play, for championships, for NCAA tournament bid. So, we're going to be locked in and trying to execute our game plan on Saturday, and hopefully we come out with positive results.
And I'm sure you saw the result last night, Rutgers and Purdue. Just talk about the league, and there are no gimmies, man. It's is it as tough as it's been?
You know what? I think, I think that's still to be determined. I do believe, just some of the quick blinks that I have been able to watch throughout the season, I believe we're a pretty balanced league. So valuing every opportunity to get a win, every possession is going to matter between winning and losing. And so obviously the teams that are most consistent and can execute their game plans offensively and defensively, and you give yourself the best chance to win. And, no game is out of the spectrum. There's, how many games have we seen this year where a team is down, double digits, and in the final, 4 or 5 minutes of the game, it's a 2 or 3 possession game. So, but that speaks to the level of the competition. That speaks to the level of the coaching in this league, and you wouldn't expect anything less in Big Ten basketball.
Coach, we'll move over to Michael Cohen from the Free Press.
Hey, Saddi, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. After the Nebraska game, some of the guys talked about playing more connected, and that was kind of a buzzword that a few of them used. From your perspective as a coaching staff, what does it mean to play connected on the offensive and defensive end, and how do you get better at that throughout a season?
Yeah, I think when being connected for us means everybody being in sync with one another. We always come up with a game plan, but the game plan is only as good as the execution of it. And we're with a team of young guys and some new faces. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for that to gel. I think off the court, our guys are definitely connected in terms of just socially and how they deal with one another in the locker room. And the goal is to speed up that learning curve so that that also applies to on the court, which I think, we've done a pretty good job of, thus far this season. But, we're always looking to get better, and coach is always going to challenge not just the players, but the staff to continually find ways to get a little bit better each and every day.
And just to follow up on that quickly, how do you feel it's gone in terms of experimenting with different lineups and finding combinations and things that you like? Obviously, that's an ongoing process in any season, but how do you feel it's gone so far?
Yeah, the mentality of the group individually and collectively is that stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And like I said, these guys work tremendously hard individually on their games. They come in and watch film with different staff members, or when we're watching it collectively as a team. So the expectation is whether you're a starter, whether you're coming off the bench, one night you might play 5 minutes, the next night you might play 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So being dialed in to your role, being dialed in to what we're trying to get done on the floor is critical to the success of the program.
Thank you.
We'll head back over to Andrew.
I have a different question here, but how often, like during the season, are you checking scores of some of the guys you used to coach with at Michigan who are now elsewhere, or texting with them or anything? I know it's probably hard during the season, but do you kind of keep tabs on your former colleagues?
Oh yeah. The other day, Brian Smothers, who's now with Niagara, they were here playing Eastern Michigan. So we got a chance to visit and meet with him. And, DeAndre Haynes, very good friend of mine. Billy Donlin, always peeking in on his score. I think earlier in the year, they had a big win at Missouri, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere like that. They had a really big win. Yak, the same. So, pretty much everybody that I've personally worked with. Yeah. When I get a chance to, peek in on the score, or, if I have some downtime in between, get a quick glimpse of their games. Yeah, we're always, kind of staying connected from that standpoint.
Thanks.
Speaking of that vein, can you kind of talk about how nice it was to kind of go back and see some of your former players, going to see Zay and Mike Smith in that G League game?
No, that was awesome. Derek Walton. No, it was really cool because, the opportunity to really see those guys further their careers at the professional level is special. We're always talking to them, whether it's through text or through phone calls periodically when they would check in with us. So to be able to see them live and in person was special, and even more special, to be there as coach delivered their championship rings to them personally, since they weren't able to make the event earlier in the year. So, all those things are special. We wish those guys well, Mike and D. Walt and Isaiah. And so, that's the cool part of it, because they're connected. You talked about a connected group. Once you're a Michigan man, you're always a Michigan man. And so, we're constantly hearing from different players who've played here, just checking in on the guys. So that is definitely really cool.
We're going to head back to Michael Cohen.
Hey, Saddi, I just wanted to follow up on a question that Chris asked earlier about the perimeter shooting. When you have a team that has some games where, you guys are right at 50% like you were the last two games, and then some where it's below that, is it difficult at all to draw up offensive game plans, not really knowing if you're going to be more like the team that shot 50% or more like the team that had some games where it was a struggle?
No, because you don't go into the game not believing that we won't make shots. Like, we trust that our guys have put in the sweat equity day in and day out, and we see it. We see it, and we have confidence in them to go be who they are based on their work ethic. And so I don't think coach has any hesitation in drawing up certain plays, because again, like anything else, time tells a story. And, we've been with these guys since July, and the time and the work that they put in tells us that, we can make shots and make it at a high level.
Great. Thanks, Saddi.
We're going to head back to Andrew.
With regards to Terrence, I mean, the scoring that he showed the other night, and he's had a couple other, decent scoring games this season. Like, is this something you saw, recruiting him and knew he was capable of? Because he kind of, I don't want to say got a reputation, but with the defense and the kind of junkyard dog stuff, you kind of maybe forgot about like the offensive skill. Yeah, is it a surprise to you at all?
Man, T. Wills, he's like Steady Eddie, man. Like, whatever his attitude is, whatever you need me to do for us to win, I'm going to do that. So on any given night, it could be a defensive lockdown assignment. The next night, it could be, facilitator. The next night, it could be, making shots, penetrating to the lane, whatever that is. T is going to do those things. So his consistency is his super. We're going to rely on his consistency to be his superpower for us.
Thanks.
Okay, Coach, I think that's going to do it. Thank you for taking some time, and we'll see you tomorrow night.